Hey there, and welcome to another video on the four temperaments. This time around, we'll be talking about how the four temperaments are related in terms of consciousness versus subconsciousness. Alright, to start off, let's identify the differences between one's consciousness versus one's subconsciousness. First off, our consciousness is what we use when we are learning new things. For example, when we are first learning to drive, each action we take, like steering or braking, is deliberately done in order to gain familiarity with the process. Fast forward a few years, however, once driving becomes second nature, we no longer actively think about our driving actions and instead rely on our subconsciousness to do the work. This then frees up our consciousness to do other things like having a conversation or thinking about other problems while driving. Our consciousness tends to be tied up with our more active duties. For instance, having a meaningful conversation versus just replying nonchalantly to everyday greetings. You could also attribute consciousness to your outer self, which is concerned about reacting to surrounding events and stimuli, versus the subconsciousness, which is mostly concerned with your inner self well-being. The subconsciousness tends to relay its feelings to its conscious counterpart through various emotions like fear or hope, and it is then up to the consciousness to decide on what action to take in response to those emotions. For instance, those decisions could take the form of either speaking up or choosing to keep quiet instead. So, coming back to the four temperaments, we know that they are divided into two categories, with the choleric and sanguine belonging to the extroverted category, while the melancholic and phlegmatic belonging to the introverted category. This extrovert and introvert division is reflective of their consciousness, with extroverts having dominant consciousness and introverts having more submissive consciousness by nature. The next division we know about is that both the melancholic and choleric give off strong responses, whereas the sanguine and phlegmatic have relatively softer ones. This division denotes a difference in inner strength or belief, and thus equates to the melancholic and choleric having stronger, more dominant subconsciousness, while the sanguine and phlegmatic having more submissive subconsciousness instead. So now that we've established the four temperament state of consciousness and subconsciousness, let's double check it with the remaining division. We can see here that both the choleric and phlegmatic have matching inner and outer states. This compliance results in a more stable and assertive psyche. On the other hand, with the melancholic and sanguine having conflicting states of consciousness and subconsciousness, this contradiction between their inner and outer selves results in a more turbulent state of mind, as their emotions struggle to affect their decision making. With that said, this concludes this video presentation. I hope this aids your understanding as to why certain people are more or less affected by their emotions. I hope you enjoyed this video. Do browse my other videos available.